Welcome everyone to another video in the channel. Today we are talking about the things that are in my camera bag as a second shooter. Yes, as a second shooter. Why a second shooter when I freelance as a main and I'm also the main shooter in my company? Well, good question. Reason number one why I do it as a second shooter, and I don't mind at all, is because I get to network with other company owners. I get to learn from other company owners. I see how they run their business. I learn a thing or two. I share my best practices. They share their best practices with me. Also, number two, I get to collaborate. And in my opinion, this is something that you rarely see in my market, especially here in up north in New Jersey. There's always this spirit of competition when it comes to wedding filmmaking and booking all the gigs, and it's always an issue for me. I rather collaborate than compete with other business owners because it is important to network. You never know when you are actually going to need somebody. Number three, I actually get to try different things as a second shooter, right? I have the freedom to experiment with very specific shots because I don't have to be worrying about everything that is going on. I'm the second shooter. There's the lead. There is the first shooter. There is the person that's gonna be worrying about everything that's going on, the timeline. I'm just there to be the backup. I'm just there to film the groom. I'm just there as a secondary, and because I'm there as a secondary, I get to experiment with shots. I get to experiment with compositions, and then I can grab that information and that knowledge, and then bring it back to my second shooter and teach him that so he can do those compositions. And number four, which is probably one of the most important of the four, is that I get to do what I love. I get to play with cameras. I get to shoot. I get to create content, and I get paid for it. I get paid for it. So I always freelance on days that I don't have anything with my company. If I don't have anything going on with corporate, if I don't have anything going on with a wedding, I freelance. I freelance as a main shooter and I freelance as a second shooter. So it really doesn't bother me. I get to play with my cameras. I get to do what I love, which is shoot and create content, and I get paid while doing that. So why not? I know you are not here to hear me talk about second shooter gear stuff. You are here because you want to see what is in my gear bag when it comes to freelancing as a second shooter. So let's break it down. We have it all here. So first, we're gonna start with cameras. Depending on the company, there are companies who only ask me to bring one camera, and there are other companies who ask me to bring two cameras. The company that I'm going to freelance as a second shooter, they are requiring two cameras. So now, of course, as you know, my cameras of choice is the Sony FX3. All of them. One and two. So for my lenses, for my gimbal lens, this is gonna be my gimbal camera. Very simple, straightforward, stripped down. It's gonna be the Tamron 20 to 40. And then I have a K&F mist filter. And this is black diffusion 1/8. 1/4 sometimes it's too strong for me. I found that 1/8 is like the good sweet spot. So for my gimbal lens is FX3 with the Tamron 20 to 40. Now, for my monopod and for my tripod, I have another FX3, but in this time with the mighty 35 150 from Tamron. I love this lens. Like, I cannot express how much I love this lens. And yes, I have a video where I bought the Samyang 35 150 and it was not the same experience as this lens. And I know a lot of people wrote in the comments that I didn't get to do a firmware upgrade, that it wasn't fair, and I didn't have the latest firmware. But the point is that if I'm buying something, I'm expecting it to work, and it didn't. It was a really bad experience. This one here has the little USB-C connection here that I can just connect a cable. I don't need a dock. So if I need to update, I just put it on and update it. So yes, this is more expensive, but again, as the saying goes, you get what you pay for. So the gimbal for my cameras, and actually this is a gimbal combination that I use either if it's my company as the main shooter, if I'm freelancing as the main shooter, if I'm freelancing as the second shooter, this gimbal combination always stays the same. And it's the FX3 with the Tamron 20 to 40 with the DJI RS3 Mini. Not the RS3 Pro, not the RS4 Pro, not the RS2, not the RS3 regular, but the Mini. I found that this combination is lethal. It's straight to the point. It doesn't weigh as much. It's very light. I can be on that gimbal the whole entire day and have no issues. And 20 to 40 for me is a perfect focal range when it comes to the gimbal. Anything higher than that, I'll jump into the 35 150 and get that shot either on the monopod or on the tripod. I don't like anything wider than 20, especially when I'm shooting subjects. 20 is the perfect sweet spot, as wide as I need it to be without making the face be super distorted or to start looking weird. So those are my cameras, and when it comes to the gimbal. So now, if you are new here, if it's your first time watching this channel, my name is Miguel and I am a professional wedding and corporate director of photography in the state of New Jersey. This channel is all about gear, tutorials, conversations, and business tips for weddings and corporate creators. So again, thank you so much for watching. Next thing that we are going to talk about is audio. Now, as a freelance second shooter, for most of the people I freelance with, they don't require it. I always use it as a backup. This is why a lot of companies like to book me, because I still think about these things, because I still run it like if it was my company. So for my freelance gigs, always the Zoom F3. I know Tascam came out with a new one, but again, this is not broken. This is doing fantastic. I have zero issues with the Zoom F3. No need to buy the new one. As far as cable, this is how I run it. I run my Zoom F3 in mono. So I'll split channel 1 and channel 2. Channel 1 is for the main feed coming out of the DJ or when I'm tapping into the speaker. For channel 2 is the line for the microphone. I love to get a clean audio straight out of the microphone. So I use the split cable, the split SLI cable. So this part will go into the DJ's main microphone, or the microphone that they are going to use for the speeches. And then one end will go back to his board or into his DDJ, and the other one will go to my Zoom F3. This way I have clean audio when it comes to the microphones. Listen, audio is the most important thing you need to worry about. Yes, there's the story, but the story without audio, there's no story. Audio is important. You're gonna hear everybody talk about it. Audio, audio, audio. So I like to get a clean feed from the microphone. This way, when they finish any speeches and the DJ decides to play a song right away, I still have that clean out from the microphone. So I always do that. And then, I have all types of cables. So I have an XLR cable. I have this cable right here that sometimes come very clutch. And this is when I use the DJI Mic 2. So this is a female XLR to 3.5. This is when I use also the DJI Mic 2 as a backup. Again, audio, audio, audio. You have your 1/4 inch to XLR. And in the van, I also have RCA to XLR. You need to have all the cables. Trust me, you need to have different cables because different DJs use different X's. And if you're gonna plug in directly from, sometimes some of the boards will require RCA, some of them will require 1/4 inch, and others will require XLR. So always be on the lookout for audio. Another thing that I do, I just don't have it here, is in the van. What I will have is the line out also come out and go into one of the DJI Mic 2, send it to that transmitter. So then the transmitter can send it to the receiver to one of the cameras. And then in the camera, you can record the audio. This is something that I learned from Hector from Naughty Art Studios here in Jersey. I saw him do it. I was freelancing for him. And again, going back to the reason why you need to freelance, because you get to learn from other creators. So I saw that he was doing that. And it was great. That added another point of audio to have your audio covered in all the areas. So that is something that I started implementing that I like a lot. So now for power solution, I use, when I'm on the monopod, the small rig 50, not the 99 V-mount batteries. Why the 50? The 50 will last me the entire day with the monopod having a USB-C going from the battery to the camera. It will keep that battery charged. And the 50 is lighter than the 99. And again, it's about working smarter, not harder. So again, if this one battery will give me the whole entire day. But if I connect a monitor and it goes almost to the whole night, I have another one as a backup. So I use 250s, and this way I can keep my setup pretty much clean. Now, when it comes to the dancing, and I forgot to mention this in the part of the cameras, if it gets too dark, if it gets too dark, and depending on the wedding venue, depending on the DJ, and depending on the person that I'm working for, some companies I work for, they don't like to have lights during the dancing. They only want to have lights during the speeches, first dance, parent dances, and after that, there's no lighting, right? And you have to go a little bit darker because that's the style, that's how they like it. Everybody runs their company a little bit different. Me, I have lights running the entire night so I can get the best image possible. But there are companies who don't want that. So in that case, I always carry my 35 1/8 G lens. This lens, I love the 35 focal length. If you ask me, if I get stranded in an island with just one lens to film a wedding, what that lens will be is the 35 1.8 G lens. This lens is amazing for video. It's a 1.8, so it gets really good with low light. And the way that the focus breathing on this lens, although now we don't have to worry about too much focus breathing when it comes to Sony native lenses. Yes, you still don't have this issue. Like, please, Sony, you allow Tamron to have the focus assist. You allowed them to have that. Please allow Tamron to also have focus breathing. But I know it is a marketing power play. But before focus breathing was a thing in the camera, this lens had one of the best focus breathing on a 35 photo lens. Again, you can go cinema and you can spend a lot of money on that glass to avoid the focus breathing, but this one here had the best one. So I always love this lens. I love the way 35 looks. If I get closer to my bride or my subject, it looks like a 50. I can move back, it looks like a 24. So 35 is the sweet spot between 24 and 50. This is why I can shoot an entire wedding on 35. And also for my monopod, And sometimes I use it on my tripod, but on my tripod I use another type of battery. This is the what I use on the plate. I use the small rig B mount battery adapter to put the camera in here, and I put the V mount here running with a USB-C cable, and this way I have it like this on my monopod or on a tripod, and I have power all day. So again, this is what I use when I'm freelancing, either as a second cam or as a main cam. But when I'm freelancing as the main shooter for other companies, I actually will add more equipment, because again, I'm the lead and I have to run it the same way that I run my company. I always have that mentality that when somebody use me or they book me to be the main shooter for their company, I treat their company just like the same way, with the same respect and the same dedication that I use with my company. So again, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, you know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe if you want, and if you don't, that's okay. But if you want to see what is in my main bag and all the stuff that I use on my main bag, you can check the video right here. But if you don't care about that and you want to see what YouTube thinks you should be watching next, then you should watch this video right here. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.